You did this on purpose. Death wasn't always licking at the edges of your life. The worms and maggots were already snapping at the sweet scent of your flesh. Time was eating your with its barbed tongue. Your body which you flush away without even looking. Are you okay? Hello friends, it's Kayla. I don't know about you, but I have not been doing well at my 2020 TBR. It's gone completely off the rails and I have a lot of books that I still need to read. These are all books, this bottom row here, that I was really excited to read, that I had on like my most anticipated list of the year, or throughout the year I got more excited to read them. So to get myself back on track, or just catch up a little bit, I'm planning on doing 3 vlogs over the next 3 weeks in which I read 3 books for each respective video. And the goal is just to read 2020 releases because there's a lot that I wanted to read and a lot that I didn't. A lot that I did, but a lot that I didn't. So for this vlog, I am letting you dictate which ones I pick. I do want to read 3 different genres in this specific week, so I'm gonna have you pick something random from Twitter, and then from there I'll give you choices on Instagram, and then from there I'll give you choices, I don't know, on YouTube. Social media decides my TBR, my audience decides my TBR, something like that. So the first thing I put up was on Twitter, and I was just genuinely curious, like, if you could force everybody to read one 2020 release, what are you forcing upon them? But also, I'm gonna use that to choose my TBR because I wanna read books that I'm going to love. Like, if I have 30 books remaining that I wanna read, I wanna make sure I'm prioritizing ones that could end up being my favorite. So my goal with this tweet, I wanna be very clear because it has 300 responses. It's not anything that you recommend. It has to be what's already on my existing TBR. Because from what I can see, the #1 book that's being mentioned is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I agree with and I've already read. The next one I see most frequently mentioned is Felix Ever After, which I agree and I've already read. I'm seeing a lot of House in the Cerulean Sea and The Midnight Library. Those are probably like the winning ones, but I don't know anything about those books. I'm sure I'll look into them later, but for now, if I do the math, the #1 book that is being suggested that's on my TBR, that actually, like, if I was just choosing my TBR, I would probably be picking it too. So I'm really glad that it does seem to be the most suggested one. It has like 9 votes maybe, which doesn't seem like a lot, but there are hundreds of different books being talked about. And that's Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I really want to read this. Obviously, I own it. It was on my most anticipated. Loved her books in the past. I maybe wouldn't have picked it on my own as the first book just because it is a little long. Not long compared to like just your average book, but of all the books that I have, and like if I just wanted to get through as many books as possible, I definitely wouldn't go with a book in like the upper 300s or 400 pages. But I'm very excited to read this. So we're gonna go for it. I'm gonna read that, I'm gonna update you, and then I will post the next thing where you get to choose. And I think I'm gonna make it a thriller, so see you in a sec. Good morning, friends. It has been a while since I've vlogged like this, like daily with what I'm up to. I have to change my mind about that lip. Today I'm off to work and I am wondering who the narrator is for the Grown audiobook, because I really loved the Monday's Not Coming audiobook, and if it's the same girl, I might just listen to the audiobook. Bye! We match, we're both wearing burgundy. So this was definitely a good pick. Thank you to you, thank you to me for putting it on my TBR in the first place. Thank you to her for writing it. I am like a quarter of the way through, and it's definitely not a read in one day kind of book. It's making me viscerally angry, which is the whole point of the book, but it's a lot. I have no doubt already that this is going to be 5 stars. The subject matter is so important, and I love how Enchanted is already aware of like power dynamic and age different like issues with relationships, and yet she still can't see when it's happening to her. And I think that's so important, is that we're not just following a naive, well, she's naive, she's young, but she's not written as this completely unaware girl who's gotten into a situation that readers can't relate to. Not that I'm saying the average teen girl will find herself thrust into fame and having somebody controlling her and taking advantage of her, but just generally the idea of a teenage girl getting into a relationship where she doesn't see how dangerous or harmful it is, that happens all the time. And I think it's important to show a character who's already aware that it's a thing and still finds herself in an abusive relationship, because I feel like that is reality a lot of the time. Upon editing, I realized that my use of the word relationship could get easily misconstrued. So I wanted to be super clear about the fact that this book is not about a consenting romantic relationship between two individuals. We're following Enchanted, who has been persuaded by a grown man with power in the music industry. She's a talented young singer who just wants an opportunity, and a predator gives her that opportunity and believes that he is now entitled to her and her body and her entire life. The book makes it very clear that she is a teenager, not capable of consenting to this relationship, and her parents are doing everything they can to help her, and they think they're doing the right thing, but they're being manipulated as well. The synopsis gives away how the story ends, which I think is a good thing because it makes it a safer book to go into, but I'm not going to spoil anything else, just in case you like going into books with as little knowledge as possible. It's so easy for things to get so clouded when you've never experienced this type of attention or fame or love or money before. And I'm really, really enjoying how it's told. The pace of this is absolutely flawless. We're not wasting time dragging out scenes or having a lot of build up to certain scenes. Like her and Corey are in a situation and then suddenly she's on tour, and then they're in a situation, and then like it's just pairing two extremes side by side rather than too much in between of her like really thinking about what's going on and discussing things with her friends and family. Those things are happening, but I just really like how this is stacking up together. I don't know. The first time that he lies to her parents, I was so fucking angry. I'm not going to read any more today, and I'm probably not going to check in with you again because I have a really long video to edit. So day one of reading is going well, and I'll check in with you tomorrow. Hello.
Hi.
I was going to take you to the mall with me, but I don't think there's going to be much to vlog while I'm in here. But this is what we're doing today. And hopefully, I just realized I remember what we were going to do.
What?
We need to get a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Let's check Canadian Tire, because maybe they have those ones with the snow on the pine needles.
Like real one or fake one?
Fake one.
Fake one?
A real one. With snow on the pine needles?
Dude, that could just be a rare fucking kind. I don't know.
Okay, so I definitely didn't complete all of my Christmas shopping, which is what I was hoping for. Liam's judging me. Rob's back. And the line for Indigo was too long, so I didn't even go in there. It's a good angle for me. This is not a good angle for you.
Cheesecake bomb.
Ew.
Yeah, I got the sea salt bomb.
I've only like been to the mall. This is the second time I've ever been to the mall.
Yeah.
You know, the coolest thing I found in the mall was I found honeycomb, which I've actually been looking for a while. A store had it where I was looking for a Christmas present, and I was like, oh, I'll just grab that. He's drowning in your water? I'm just gonna do the rest of our Christmas shopping on the internet.
Especially the tree.
Oh, what? All these trees to choose from, and
Where do we want the little one? I kind of like the little one. Oh, right here.
this.
I like the tin can. It's awesome.
Okay, I know it's not the most conventional tree, but it's really small. But Rob made the point that we're spending so much more time inside this holiday season, and we have such a small place that it would be nice to have the room that we don't normally have when we have a giant tree. Okay, Liam and I are trying honeycomb for the first time. I have nothing to say. It's very sweet. You like it? Oh, great. This is just an eating channel now because I also got chocolate sea foam. Mom, don't watch this. I got my mom one of these. And then I had to get one for myself because it sounded delicious. And we're just going to try it together for no reason. I finished Grown. It was a lot. You can literally see back in my videos every time I leave the house because I always have a pimple on my nose after from wearing a mask. Doesn't this just look incredible? Oh my god. Literally one bite and I can't eat anymore. If you don't have Rocky Mountain chocolate where you are, you're really missing out. It's like the best place ever to get chocolate. So I know that people will wonder like why I picked this up to begin with, because it deals with the exact thing that I don't like to read about, which is fame. The exception that I make when reading books that I might not normally like, or there's a theme that I don't typically enjoy, it's if I know that the book has like a bigger message that I think is going to be important. And because I just had a feeling with this book that it would be something that I really wanted to recommend to people, and especially when I'm outside of the target demographic, I just think it's nice to be up to date with like the important topical literature that's out there. So for all of my teen viewers, I can tell you like this is a really important book. This tackles a really, really difficult topic and it could not have done it any better. And not only does it cover just like toxic relationships in general, but it does have commentary on the music industry, which I think is something that has been especially brought to light the last 10 or so years. More people coming out, speaking out about the ways that they are being wronged or abused by the system or those in power within the system. Also, because we have a main character who's a young black woman, it also tackles racism and talks about who the most vulnerable person in society is, the young black woman. The conversations in here were so difficult to read because you're not just reading from her perspective, but you're reading from outsiders, and the type of outsiders that you see on like message boards or news sites when something happens, and then the comment section is full of like, well, she asked for it, or young women, they know what they're doing, or she's just trying to get money, or she's lying to get famous. Obviously things are shifting and victims are being more believed nowadays than ever before, but there's still so much bullshit. And obviously reading all of those things was supposed to make me angry, and it did its job. And it's supposed to bring attention to things that are important, which is gonna be great for especially teens to be consuming, as difficult as it is. The thing about books like this though is this is the type of book that parents especially are going to challenge. Parents in a privileged position will say things like, this is too mature, or this is too graphic for young people to read, which is a whole nother conversation because this is happening to young people. It's just conversations in general. Like this happens all the time when you're talking about sex ed, when we're talking about consent. People will say our children are too young to be having these conversations or learning about these things. Abuse and assault survivors shouldn't have gone through these things. I'm angry that a book like this has to be written, but I'm so impressed with the way that she did it. So 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously one of my most recommended books of the year. Read it. Okay, welcome to, not day 2, the decision for book 2. We have to make it. So I really want to read a thriller. This week especially, I want to try to read 3 different genres. And we already read like a hard-hitting contemporary, so I figured a thriller would be good. I haven't read a ton of thrillers that I've totally loved this year, so I want to give some a chance. I'm also taking pictures of bookmarks today, which is pretty much what I do every weekend, so they can go up on our Etsy shop. I'll link it, of course. So I had a few different 2020 thrillers on my radar, and a couple of them I've definitely lost interest in, but there's still 3 that I have sitting on my TBR. So I posted an Instagram for them, and I was hoping, I guess I should have been more specific, because I was hoping to like be convinced to read one, but you're all just voting on them, which is fair. But so now I don't really know which one to pick anyway, because they're all getting votes. I put up Don't Look For Me by Wendy Walker, The End of Her by Sherry Lapina, and The Swap by Robin Harding. What the general consensus seems to be is that this isn't very exciting. I'm gonna hate the ending of this, and I haven't gotten a whole lot of feedback on the Wendy Walker one. Although I think most of the people who mention this say that like they want to read it, so they want to know if it's good. So I'm down to be the guinea pig for this and let you know if you should read it. This is also the longest one, which like, is that the right choice? I don't know. The sun is out briefly, so I have some natural light to take these pictures, but it's supposed to be a pretty gloomy day, which seems conducive to a thriller. So I'm excited to read it. I don't even know if I know fully what it's about. Molly Clark walked away from her life, the car abandoned miles from home, the note found in a nearby hotel, the shattered family that couldn't be put back together. And then I think we have multiple timelines, because then it says the night Molly disappeared began with a storm, running out of gas, and a man in a truck offering her a ride to town. With him is a little girl who reminds her of the daughter she lost years ago. It feels like a sign, and Molly is overcome with the desire to be home with her family no matter how broken it is. This is like a new trend in thrillers, is being locked in a car with somebody who seems dangerous. But now Molly's daughter Nicole begins to wonder. Nothing about her mother's disappearance makes sense. Nicole returns to the small desolate town where her mother was last seen to find the truth. Is there a timeline here? Like, it doesn't say 6 months later, 10 years later. Like, how old is the woman who went missing? Maybe it intentionally doesn't tell you that. So I'm gonna continue with these. We're not really doing anything today. I feel like that's gonna be most of my vlogs for December, is me just like sitting in bed. We had to move the bed away from the window because it's getting really cold. It's gonna be me here all month. Let me know if you have any other ideas for a themed vlog, because I know this one is just based on what you're telling me to read. The next one is going to be based on what the covers look like. And then if you have any ideas for something else that I could pick my 2020 remaining TBR based on, like, let me know. Because I know normally these would be bigger, like, thematic videos rather than just, oh, I read 3 books in a casual week that you chose. Like, I would have made it way bigger and way broader. But I'm just trying to find fun ways to do these short end of the year catch-up vlogs, but still make them interesting and still make choosing my TBR interesting. So let me know down below any ideas you have. I would much appreciate it. Hi friends. I really need to wash my hair. So I'm gonna do that after I make dinner. Here's dinner. It's asparagus. We're all shocked. So I have great news. I'm absolutely obsessed with this book. Don't Look For Me. I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that the second half could let me down, because the first half was so good that I think my expectations are a little too high, and I really just don't know where the story could possibly go from here. But the first half of this book, everything I need. The suspense, palpable. I already know, just like every other year, when I figure out my favorites of the year, thrillers are almost never in it, because regardless of how much I enjoy them, they will just never have like the emotional impact or the intrigue that like a fantasy or magical realism or contemporary has. But I do still plan to share with you in some capacity like my favorite thriller mysteries of the year at the end of the year. And I could be hyping myself up too much, but like I already feel like this could be in that list. But it really just depends what it does, because if it continues where it is right now and just keeps being the same story of a woman in like an unsafe situation trying to get out of it, like I don't know if that'll do it for me, but I think it could from here go somewhere really interesting. So I'm actually gonna try out the audiobook for a bit while I'm making dinner, and then hopefully I'll come back to you later tonight with the book finished and my hair not looking like this. Hold me to it. Okay, I'm only a couple more pages into this, but I'm pretty sure the Goodreads award results are out, and I thought it would be a nice little follow-up to check the winners, because the last video that I posted at this point was reading all the Goodreads horror nominees. So what I want to win is The Year of the Witching or The Hollow Places, which they're not. And what I think will win, I still haven't decided. Like, I want to say Mexican Gothic, but it's probably going to be If It Bleeds. View results. Mexican Gothic! Okay, even though I gave it 3 stars, like, I'm really happy that that won. Sweet. Next in line, If It Bleeds, Southern Book Club. Hey, The Year of the Witching was number 4. That's pretty cool. I wonder if anybody just went in and voted for my pick. Not that I would have affected the Goodreads awards. I just wonder if any of you would have done that. Then The Only Good Indians, Devolution, The Hollow Places, Plain Bad Heroines, Mallory Tenders, The Flesh, The Hollow Ones, The Brightlands. Oh right, this is like all top 20. I'm not surprised by the results, but I do think certain books like Lakewood and Tender is the Flesh especially are not getting the attention they deserve. Should I react to the other winners while we're here? I don't even think I know most of the other nominees. Fiction, The Midnight Library. Barely heard of it. I've only heard you talk about it. I like don't even know what it is. Hey, The Thriller was the guest list. That was the winner. Who would I have voted for in this category? I haven't read most of them. I'm not interested in most of them. But I think I actually would have voted for The Night Swim. Historical fiction. I guess I would have voted for The Vanishing Half since that's the only one I read. Although I've heard Betty is good. Fantasy. I don't know her. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. The House in the Cerulean Sea, which a lot of you... I need to look into that book. And then a lot of things. Ooh, The Empress of Salt and Fortune, I definitely would have voted for that. Romance, what would I have voted for? I even never heard of that book. That looks like fantasy. I haven't read any of them. Science fiction. I've vaguely seen that book. I guess I would have voted for Riot Baby. Nonfiction. Okay, I haven't read Stamped, but I have read Hood Feminism, and I probably would have voted for that. Young adult fiction, I don't even think I looked at any of the nominees, but I knew Felix was on there, which is what I would have voted for. Clap a New Land. Oh yeah, You Should See Me in a Crown. The Inheritance Games. Gravity Bus, Grown. Oh my gosh, I've read most of these. The Henna Wars should be higher on the list, that's all I have to say. And I just finished Grown, so I think that should be higher on the list too. Young adult fantasy. Booksnake? That came out this year? Oh, I would have voted for A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. I think that's the only one I've read on here, except for Cemetery Boys. Okay, that's it. Now I'm actually gonna finish my book. Okay, I gotta be honest. I should have seen that plot twist coming, but I didn't. 10 out of 10. It's almost over. Okay, so I finished it. And I know that the whole point of these vlogs and this catch-up TBR was to read the books.
I got your headphones fully charged for you. It's up here.
Thanks.
Why you just always Pepto in one hand, camera in the other?
Pepto?
I need some.
That's from last night.
Ooh, what fun did you have last night? You needed Pepto.
Jalapeno Cheetos.
Yeah, me too.
What was I saying? The point of the vlogs was to read books that I'm gonna love so I can find some even like new favorites of the year. Does that sentence make sense? It's getting late. But I still never ever go into a mystery or thriller expecting it to get a high rating. So I'm so pleasantly surprised that I just gave this 4 stars. And it seems to be a pretty unpopular opinion among my friends on Goodreads. With that said, I need to tell you, it's not actually a mystery or a thriller. It is a suspense novel. There are not very many books I've read that I would say are suspense. Some of them are suspense mystery, suspense thrillers. This one is suspense. That's it. So make sure you have the right like expectations going into it. It's really slow and it's really fucking tense. I enjoyed that so much. Like the twists were good, the reveals were good, the pacing was great. And part of me is worried that this is like a circumstantial read because I haven't read a mystery thriller or suspense like in a minute, because there are some elements to this book that I have hated in other books. And I really have no way of explaining why this one worked for me. So that's kind of unfortunate. I haven't read that many mystery type books in 2020 that I've given 4 or 5 stars. Like, there is only a handful of them. So weirdly enough, this is in my favorite like suspense, mystery, thriller category genre novels of the year, and a book super similar to it is in my least favorites of the year. Anyway, I'm not sure what I can tell you about the book. Like, I read you the synopsis. It's about a woman and it's about her daughter. It is like a straightforward suspense. Like, it's not trying to trick you in that way. There's a woman who's gotten herself in an unsafe situation and her daughter's trying to find her. I definitely don't want to give anything away, so maybe I'll have to do a 3 thriller video, but like come 2021 when I have time. Just know I definitely recommend it, but I have to be specific about who I recommend it to. Wendy Walker's books in general have been a hit or a miss for me. So if you've hated all of Wendy Walker's books, like, this probably isn't for you. Actually, we can just go through like which ones I liked and which ones I didn't. So Emma in the Night was a 4-star for me. The Night Before was like a 2-star for me, and All Is Not Forgotten was like a 2-star for me. So hopefully that helps dictate like which one, if you like this, based on those. Okay, I have to figure out what book I'm reading tomorrow, but I don't know how I'm deciding it. I definitely want to read a different genre, and I think the only thing I really have left is just like general magical books, but I'll figure that out tomorrow. Good morning. These are definitely not dry, which is a little sad for me. So I'm going to post on my Instagram story today 3 picks. I actually barely have any like weird or magical or fantasy books remaining in my 2020 TBR. Like, I've read most of them, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to post in my stories so I can do like a poll, because I think it would be interesting, especially with like the weirder books, to get more of a personal response that's letting me know if I will like it. And with all of these books, I don't think they actually have a super high readership. So I'm going to put a poll that's like, will I like this? And it's going to be like yes or no, or I haven't read it, because I want to see from people's actual opinions who've read the books, your thoughts, if I'm actually gonna like them. So before I go to work, I'm gonna post that, I'm gonna fix this, and then after work I will check and I will let you know what's been selected. Side note, when I got this hair color done, I said that I thought I looked like Ginger Spice. Like, I don't know who I was kidding. I'm clearly Rayanne from My So-Called Life. I feel like sometimes my hair gets cuter throughout the day, and then sometimes I just hate everything. Also, I have a lot of different patterns on right now. I will check what you have selected for me. At this point, it looks like there are twice the amount of people who don't think I'm gonna like The Ravens compared to the ones thinking I'm gonna like it, though most people haven't read it, which is what I was expecting. Strange Exit is a mixed bag. It keeps going back and forth, but the number seems pretty even. And then The Regrets is like twice the amount of people say I'm gonna like it, which is not honestly the result I was expecting. I own The Ravens, I have Strange Exit coming from the library, and then The Regrets I just grabbed from the library. I don't know, since I've been liking witch stuff, I thought maybe you would say The Ravens, and then since I love Parker Peavy House, or have in the past, I just thought maybe that would be the one. I kind of expected The Regrets to be the least likely winner here. But you know what? This is gonna make a cute Instagram photo of all 3 of them. Like, look at this. Look at that. Iconic. This is it. Also, I hate this book. Hate it. 50 pages in, giving it a go, but I hate it. I have nothing to say to you. You bitches did this on purpose. Death wasn't always licking at the edges of your life. The worms and maggots were already snapping at the sweet scent of your flesh. Time was eating your pussy with its barbed tongue. Shit and blood passing out of your body, which you flush away without even looking. Are you okay? Like, this was not okay. I don't even like reading sex scenes. You all thought I wanted to read sex scenes with a ghost? Okay, to be fair, this was on my TBR. This is my fault. And some of you slid into my DMs and warned me. But like, what? From the very first time she says like, I was getting fucked by the void, I was like, let me step outside myself for a second and recognize this book did some stuff. It's about a ghost, kind of. He basically has like 90 days on Earth before he goes into the afterlife, but there are like rules and he's not supposed to like get entangled with anybody, but of course he does. And it's just like a lot of sex. And I know that the sex is like a metaphor for something, okay? Like, I get that it's talking about more than just sex, but every single page is sex, and how like this ghost that she can't even feel is like constantly having sex with her. On one hand, I think that we're talking about like abusive relationships, and we're talking about like sex is a metaphor for love, and how you can be taken advantage of and you can be blinded by certain things, and how maybe if we relate it to like depression or mental health concerns, how two people can get so caught up with each other that you can't even differentiate yourself. Like, you're not an individual anymore. You are just this like ball of whatever the person is going through. It's about loneliness, and it's about self-discovery. It's about manipulation. And I'm sure a lot of other things that I do not have the mental capacity right now to decipher for you or for me. So to sum it up, I get it. I get it. It's not, oh gosh, I hated it. And it's not, I know it's gonna come across like I thought the book was too vulgar. And I promise I'm not like a prude. I just genuinely detested the writing. The way that it was written. And it's not that like I hated the characters and the characters' voice, and like, because you're supposed to feel a certain way about what's going on, and you're supposed to feel unsettled, so like the book accomplished certain things, but just literally the writing itself, I hated it. It was a chore. I wish I had quit at 8% like I just saw Chelsea did. Why didn't I look at anyone's reviews? Noelle gave this 2 stars. I was like, oh, it's a weird ghost book. I'll love it. I was wrong. We were all wrong. I'm happy to have read it. It was an interesting experience. I don't even know my rating. 2 stars. Hated the writing. Think it said some interesting things. I've now read 3 books. I was gonna wait and do this wrap up like tomorrow, where I hopefully like looked nice and had cohesive thoughts to share. But I wanted these vlogs to be casual, and here we are, casual. I read 3 books. They can't all be winners. You know, we couldn't have had a 5-star and a 4-star and another 4 or 5 stars. Something had to flop. It's okay. I hope you enjoyed the vlog, and I'm gonna kick off another one. And a week from this one, you'll see the next one. How exciting. 3 more books. I'm fine with this being the trend. 2 great books and a bad book. Not that I want any bad books. I'm gonna turn off the camera and go to sleep. Let me know something down below and I'll chat with you down there. Bye.